The Canterbury Trail of Woe seems endless, and now social workers are warning of whānau upheaval as cases of violence increase. This week, our reporter Carmen Parahi reports on a groundbreaking service aimed at helping the male perpetrators of domestic violence.
Stop, you've been drinking! And you'll bring up! You'll come upon me! Don't get off me! Don't touch me! You just stop now! Don't leave me alone! I'm going to call the police!
Terrorism is not just overseas, it's in our homes. Feel they're just really losing control of their lives. And what we know when that happens, there's stuff going on behind closed doors that would not be good.
Ex-serviceman and long-serving social worker Daryl Gregory has a strong domestic violence warning for Canterbury.
I think this year is actually going to be our worst year yet. I think the pressure and the stress is building up to now where people are ready to crash.
Daryl works with many social services across Greater Christchurch. They're all raising concerns people rich and poor, of all ethnicities, are losing control of their lives.
Whereas before people would have got out of situations, there's now nowhere to go. There is no housing. So I kind of think that the reporting might be down, but the actual incidence of violence, I think, is increasing.
Police and Women's Refuge estimate up to only 20% of all domestic violence is reported to police. Daryl Gregory believes to stop family violence, we need to help men who abuse women and children.
Don't you hit me again!
Why should we help men that perpetrate family violence?
Because men deserve to be treated with respect, and also if we don't, nothing will change.
To encourage change, Daryl staked his reputation on a new but risky men's service he helped start in North Canterbury. Former Corrections and Probation Officer Machu Cheeseman is the man charged with helping other men to stop their violence.
Were you a dangerous man?
Yes. Yep. Because I hurt people. That was a long time ago.
And this is how you can relate to the men?
A lot of the men I work with don't want to acknowledge that side, and you hurt. Unfortunately, you want others to hurt too, whether it's whānau, whether it's others, strangers. You can get to a point where you're a dangerous person.
The publicly funded pilot Reach Out service started last year in Rangiora. Machu uses tikanga Maori to help the mainly Pākehā men who use the service.
The taha wairua is neglected or dead in many of them, and many of the men I've worked with.
In the past, when police attended a domestic situation, relevant services were notified to assist only the adult female and or any children involved. The male adult, usually the perpetrator, was left to fend for himself.
I do know of a few that have had to spend time in a car until they were offered some support.
Now Machu is part of the police notification system and can offer free support to men within 48 hours of a domestic incident. Ken was one of them.
I actually was out of control and I felt that I needed help.
He started losing control after he suffered chronic health problems.
It's just so expensive to live now here in Canterbury. The earthquakes have had a devastating effect on people.
Ken admits he assaulted his girlfriend.
And this sort of service does actually help, and it actually focuses more on the actual man and with his issues and having to cope with life's pressures and strains.
In North Canterbury, of adults involved in family violence, 1 in 4 women access support, 1 in 5 men talk to Machu. He admits it's too much work for one person.
A lot of the men I've been able to contact, they say, oh, it's great that there's something out there for guys.
The pilot results exceeded expectations, translating into more government dollars to fully fund Reach Out for another 3 years. A Christchurch service will begin in July and may start in Timaru and the far north. Senior Constable Chris Hurring was the driving force behind Reach Out, recognising there was a gap when he was dealing with high-risk repeat offenders.
We had no information about these men. We didn't know where they were at. We didn't know what they were thinking, what they were doing, and so therefore how much of a risk they were to their family.
North Canterbury Police attend 600 to 800 domestic call-outs a year.
Why is this a police issue? Why is it your job?
The police philosophy recently is that one of our main aims is prevention first. So if you can work with families to prevent further instances of domestic violence, then that's got to benefit everyone. And in my view, that is a police role.
Is that working?
We knew that we could make a difference as a result of the project. It's really heartening to see how well it's working.
How do we measure how it's working?
By looking at the individual cases, I believe, is one of the key things. Looking at the families that, as a result of the collaborative approach to it, you can see that it's benefited these families and improved the safety of women and children, and assisted men to improve their lives as well.
Surprisingly, the Christchurch Women's Refuge has taken up the cause too. They'll be supporting battered women and the men who hit them.
Why bother with the perpetrators?
Because in many respects the perpetrators are the solution to family violence. Without working effectively with people who are perpetrating violence, we will not find a sustainable solution to the problem.
The Christchurch Women's Refuge is New Zealand's first and oldest refuge. It celebrated its 40th anniversary this week by dumping its name and women-only focus.
I suspect that we will get some flack because people may perceive that we're not honouring the history, the whakapapa.
The new organisation is now called Aviva, which means to celebrate life.
Traditionally, I think our approach to family violence has been one of separating the provision of services for men from the provision of services for women and children, and I think that that often undermines motivation for people, both men and women, to seek help.
They've taken an approach of whole of family, which we would probably call whānau ora, and to do that they realise they need to work with men.
Daryl believes the reach out service should be made available for all men across New Zealand.
And it's not just about stopping violence, it's about actually helping people build healthier relationships, healthy families, healthier communities. And to do that we need to take a broader approach. You know, we have to still understand the issues, and there is still risk, but I think there's also risk if we don't.
Yeah, just ring up to check how things are going, mate, since that police call out.
But Machu Cheeseman also has a warning. They can only help men who want to change.
Be strong enough to break away and find the help you need. To those who don't want to change, mā te atua te utu.